The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of the downtown office building, casting long rectangles of light across the polished marble floors. Andrew Caldwell sat in the lobby, briefcase beside him, checking his watch for the third time. His meeting was in 20 minutes, and he was reviewing the numbers one more time in his head. At 35, Andrew had built a successful consulting firm from nothing. He was known for his sharp mind, his attention to detail, his ability to turn struggling companies around. He was also known for working 16-hour days and rarely taking time for anything that didn't directly contribute to his success. He was so focused on his phone that he didn't notice the little girl until she was standing right in front of him. She couldn't have been more than 3 years old, with light brown hair pulled into 2 adorable pigtails. She wore a pink dress with lace trim, and in her small hands, she clutched a bright pink lunch bag with a cartoon face on it. Her eyes were wide and earnest as she looked up at him. "You forgot your lunch, Daddy," she said in a small, clear voice. Andrew looked up, startled. He glanced around, expecting to see a parent rushing over to collect their child. But the lobby was busy with people moving purposefully toward elevators and meetings, no one paying attention to this little girl. "I'm sorry, sweetheart," Andrew said gently, "but I'm not your daddy. Your father must be around here somewhere." The little girl's lower lip trembled slightly. "But you forgot your lunch," she insisted, holding out the pink bag toward him. "Mommy said you always forget." Andrew's heart squeezed. The child seemed so certain, so worried. He knelt down to her level, his expensive suit creasing without a thought. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Emma," she said. "Emma Grace. That's a beautiful name." "I'm Andrew." "Emma, where is your mommy?" Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know. She was right there." She pointed vaguely toward the entrance. "She said to give you your lunch because you always forget and then you get hungry and grumpy." Andrew felt a surge of concern. This child was lost, separated from her mother in a busy building, and she'd latched onto him as a familiar figure. He needed to help her, but he also needed to be careful, aware of how this might look. "Okay, Emma," he said calmly. "Let's find your mommy together. Can you tell me what she looks like?" "She has brown hair like mine," Emma said, "and she was wearing her blue coat." "The pretty one." Andrew stood, taking Emma's free hand gently. "Let's go to the security desk. They can help us find her." But before they could take 2 steps, a woman's voice called out, breathless and panicked. "Emma! Emma Grace!" A young woman rushed toward them, her brown hair slightly disheveled, her blue coat unbuttoned. She was perhaps in her late 20s, and her face was etched with the particular terror only a parent who has momentarily lost sight of their child can know. "Emma!" She dropped to her knees, gathering the little girl into her arms. "Oh my God, baby, you can't run off like that. Mommy was so scared." "But Daddy forgot his lunch," Emma protested, still clutching the pink bag. "You said he always forgets." The woman, whose name was Sarah Mitchell, looked up at Andrew for the first time. Her cheeks flushed with embarrassment as understanding dawned. "I am so sorry," she said quickly, standing while keeping a firm hand on Emma's shoulder. She must have thought, "I was just on the phone for a second." And when I turned around, her voice caught. "Thank you for staying with her." "Of course," Andrew said. "She's a sweet kid, very concerned about her daddy's lunch." Sarah managed a weak smile. "Her father works in this building. We were bringing him his lunch because he does always forget. Emma must have seen you and thought—" She trailed off, looking at Andrew more carefully. He was tall with dark hair swept back, wearing an impeccably tailored charcoal suit. There was something in his bearing, in the way he'd knelt down to speak to Emma at her level, that had clearly resonated with the little girl. "It's an honest mistake," Andrew said. "I'm just glad she's safe." Emma tugged on her mother's coat. "But Mommy, Daddy needs his lunch." "We'll find Daddy, baby," Sarah assured her. She looked at Andrew again. "Thank you, really. I don't know what would have happened if she'd approached someone else." "She approached the right person," Andrew said simply. Then, surprising himself, he added, "I hope your husband appreciates having someone who cares so much about him remembering to eat." Something flickered across Sarah's face, a shadow of sadness quickly hidden. "Yes, well, have a good day, Mr. Caldwell." "Andrew Caldwell, Sarah Mitchell." "Thank you again, Mr. Caldwell." As Sarah took Emma's hand to lead her away, Emma turned back and waved the pink lunch bag at Andrew. "Bye, not Daddy." Andrew found himself smiling as he waved back. Then he checked his watch, realized his meeting was in 5 minutes, and hurried toward the elevators. But something about the encounter stayed with him throughout the day. The little girl's earnest concern, the mother's obvious devotion, the mention of a father who worked in the building but couldn't spare time to have lunch with his family. Over the next few weeks, Andrew found himself unconsciously looking for them in the lobby. He told himself it was just curiosity, just wanting to make sure Emma was okay. But if he was honest, there was something about Sarah's face, about the way she'd looked at him with gratitude and something else he couldn't quite name, that had lodged itself in his thoughts. He saw them again 3 weeks later. This time, Emma was sitting on one of the lobby benches, swinging her legs while Sarah stood nearby talking on her phone. Her expression was strained, and Andrew could hear the tension in her voice even if he couldn't make out the words. Emma saw him first. Her face lit up. "Not Daddy!" she called out, waving enthusiastically. Sarah turned, surprise crossing her features. She ended her call quickly and walked over, Emma bouncing beside her. "Mr. Caldwell," Sarah said, "I'm surprised you remember us. Hard to forget someone who mistakes you for their father," Andrew said with a smile. Then to Emma, "Hello again. Emma Grace, still making sure your daddy eats lunch?" Emma nodded solemnly. "He's very forgetful." Sarah's smile was tight. "Yes, well, we're actually just leaving. My husband he's too busy to see us today." Andrew saw the hurt in her eyes, the disappointment she was trying to hide from her daughter. On impulse, he said, "I was just about to grab some lunch myself. Would you two like to join me? There's a cafe around the corner that makes excellent grilled cheese sandwiches." Sarah started to decline. He could see the refusal forming. But Emma gasped with delight. "Grilled cheese! Mommy, can we, please?" Sarah looked at her daughter's eager face, then at Andrew's kind eyes, and something in her just gave way. She was tired of being disappointed, tired of explaining to Emma why Daddy didn't have time, tired of feeling alone even though she was married. "That's very kind of you," she said quietly. "If you're sure we wouldn't be imposing." "I'd enjoy the company," Andrew said honestly. The cafe was warm and cozy, with wooden tables and the smell of fresh bread. Emma chattered happily about her preschool, about her toy collection, about everything and nothing. Sarah gradually relaxed, some of the tension leaving her shoulders. "So what do you do, Mr. Caldwell?" she asked. "Please, call me Andrew. I run a business consulting firm. We help companies improve their operations, find efficiencies, that sort of thing." "That sounds impressive." Andrew shrugged. "It's demanding. Long hours, constant pressure. But I'm good at it." He paused. "Your husband, what does he do?" Sarah's expression clouded. "He's in finance, trading. He used to have time for us. But the last couple of years," she trailed off, looking at Emma, who was carefully arranging her French fries and patterns on her plate. "It's just been hard." Over the next few months, those chance meetings became less chance and more deliberate. Andrew found himself suggesting lunch when he saw them in the lobby. Then he started timing his breaks for when he knew they might be there. Sarah, for her part, began to look forward to these encounters. Andrew was easy to talk to, genuinely interested in Emma, and there was a loneliness in him that matched her own. He told her about building his business from nothing, about the cost of success, about realizing he'd spent so many years working that he'd forgotten what he was working for. "I never had time for a family," he admitted one day. "I told myself it was because I wasn't ready, because I needed to establish myself first. But the truth is I was scared. Scared that I wouldn't be good enough at it, that I'd fail at the thing that really mattered." "You're good with Emma," Sarah said softly. "She adores you." It was true. Emma had started calling him Mr. Andrew, and she would run to him in the lobby, telling him about her day, showing him her drawings. Andrew, who had never thought much about children, found himself enchanted by this little girl's enthusiasm and trust. But he was also deeply aware of the ethical lines he couldn't cross. Sarah was married. Emma had a father, even if that father seemed increasingly absent. Whatever Andrew felt growing in his heart, and he felt something profound and tender, he kept it carefully contained. Then one day, Sarah came to the cafe alone. Her eyes were red and she'd clearly been crying. Emma's with my sister, she said before Andrew could ask. I wanted to talk to you. Andrew waited, his heart heavy with the weight of what he suspected was coming. James is leaving us, Sarah said quietly. My husband? He's been having an affair with someone from his office. He said he wants a divorce, that he hasn't been happy for years, that he needs to focus on his career. Sarah, I'm so sorry. The worst part is I'm not even that surprised, she continued, tears streaming down her face. I've known for a while that he'd checked out of our marriage. I just kept hoping, for Emma's sake. Andrew wanted to reach across the table to take her hand, to offer comfort, but he stayed still, letting her speak. I feel like such a fool, Sarah said. I devoted everything to him, to making our family work, and he just walked away. You're not a fool, Andrew said firmly. You're a devoted mother and a loyal wife. His failure to appreciate that, to honor that, that's on him, not you. Sarah looked at him, really looked at him. Why are you so kind to us? You barely know us. Andrew considered the question carefully. Because Emma reminded me that there are things more important than meetings and profit margins. And because you both reminded me what I've been missing while I was so busy building something impressive. Connection, humanity. The simple grace of sharing a grilled cheese sandwich with people who matter. We matter to you? Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. You do, Andrew admitted. More than I probably should say, given your situation. They sat in silence for a moment, the truth hanging between them like morning mist. I need to figure out my life, Sarah said finally. I need to be strong for Emma, to build a new future for us. It wouldn't be fair to you, to anyone, to jump into something new when I'm still sorting through the wreckage. I understand, Andrew said, and he did, even though his heart ached. But I want you to know something. Whenever you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here. And even if you're never ready for anything more than friendship, I'll still be here. You and Emma, you've changed my life. I don't want to lose that. A year passed. Sarah filed for divorce, which James didn't contest. She moved into a smaller apartment, went back to work part-time as a graphic designer, started rebuilding her life piece by piece. Andrew remained a constant presence, but always respectful of boundaries. He helped Emma with her homework when Sarah was overwhelmed. He showed up for her preschool graduation. He was simply there, steady and dependable, asking nothing in return. One afternoon, Emma ran up to him in the lobby with her familiar enthusiasm, but this time her words were different. Mr. Andrew, Mommy says you can come to my birthday party. Will you come? Please say yes. Andrew looked at Sarah, who was standing a few feet away, smiling. There was something different in her smile now. Something that looked like hope. I wouldn't miss it for the world, Andrew said. At the birthday party, surrounded by children and balloons and cake, Sarah found a quiet moment to stand beside Andrew. Thank you, she said, for being patient, for being our friend when we needed one most. Always, Andrew replied. Sarah took a breath. I'm ready, I think. If you still want, if the offer still stands, Andrew turned to look at her fully. For what? To see where this goes. You and me. Not rushing, but not pretending anymore that there isn't something here worth exploring. Andrew felt his heart expand in his chest. I want that more than I can say. They took it slowly, dating properly, building something real on the foundation of friendship they'd already established. Emma was delighted, having already adopted Andrew as her favorite person. When he proposed a year later, it was Emma who presented Sarah with the ring, her pigtails bouncing with excitement. On their wedding day, Andrew knelt down to Emma's level, just as he had that first day in the lobby. Emma Grace, I promise to love your mother with everything I have, and I promise to be the best father to you that I can be. Thank you for mistaking me for your daddy that day. It changed everything. Emma threw her arms around his neck. You're my real daddy now, she whispered. The one who doesn't forget lunch. Andrew hugged her close, tears in his eyes. I'll never forget lunch again. As he stood and took Sarah's hand, preparing to exchange vows, Andrew thought about the twists of fate that had brought them here. A little girl with a pink lunch bag, a moment of mistaken identity, a series of small choices to show up, to care, to see beyond the surface of things. Sometimes the best things in life happen when a child chooses you first. Sometimes love grows slowly, carefully, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And sometimes The family you're meant to have finds you in the most unexpected ways. Andrew had spent years building a successful career, but this was his greatest achievement. A wife who saw him completely, a daughter who trusted him absolutely, a love that had grown from kindness and patience into something unshakable. He'd never forget his lunch again, because now he had someone worth coming home to.